Hey, what's up, my friends? Nick Rapclus here, and I'm welcomed by my good friend and guest to the show. I mean, this is really one of the first times we've done this before, but this is my friend Jeremy Montoya, and we have some really exciting things to share with you today. We're going to show you how to make money in the year 2019 and beyond, and Jeremy's going to share a lot of stuff that actually proves this to be the case. It's not any type of trend or just flash in the pan. It's stuff that's here to stay, and he's going to show you why. So welcome, Jeremy. Thanks, man, for being here, and really excited for this interview.
I appreciate you having me on. Really excited to chat with you guys and show you guys some stuff that you guys can do before the end of this video to actually prove it to yourself as well. So excited for it.
Awesome, man. So first off, just wanted to briefly kind of touch base on the story that we shared last week. We talked about how Jeremy made $1,500 simply using Instagram and your online business, which is something we're going to get into. But not only did he do that, but 2 days later, it was 2 days later
Yep.
that he did that again. So $3,000 in a matter of what, like
72-ish hours.
Yeah. And this is something easily duplicatable that anyone can do.
Easily
right?
duplicatable.
Okay, cool. So why don't we just jump in, you share a little bit about the story, and then later on in this video, we're going to talk about the processes and how you guys can do that as well. So why don't you just share the story a little bit more?
Sure. So I'm a business mentor and online coach, and although I've done business coaching, I've also done this exact same thing for agency style marketing services. So this works in so many different ways and it requires so little to actually get started, which is why I'm such a huge fan. And so to give you guys some background for how it works, I was just on Instagram, just finding my audience because I know where they're at, I know who they're watching and who they're paying attention to. And so I reach out to them just to build connections and to network. And when I see the opportunity to add value to someone, I have a very easy process that anyone can follow for getting them on the phone, for making sure they understand what the phone call is about. So they're not getting on and kind of like, feel like they're being led down a path that they're not ready for. Like I make it abundantly clear that we're going to be talking about their results and what they're wanting, and if I can help them specifically in their journey. And so I just take it over to a conversation. We hop on the phone, we talk about where they're at in their unique situation. And then if I can help them, which by this point, if they've made it through my application and they've answered truthfully and honestly, then I can help them in their business to actually grow it, to find people to either get their first clients, which is a huge stumbling block for most people as they're getting started, is how do you start bringing money in? So we cover that from the basis, and I give them clarity on the call before we even start a formal relationship. And then I just show them the exact process for how to do the same in their business for whatever service they're offering, or if they don't understand what product that they're going to be bringing to the world or what service, how they're going to make money, just workshopping through all of that to make sure they have everything that they need. So it just starts from a basic conversation on Instagram, goes to a phone call, and by the end of the call, they're making a decision whether they want to join my mentoring program or not. And so for you, this might be joining your coaching program for whatever service you offer, whether it's showing them how to write better copy or actually doing the copy for them in marketing terms or doing social media marketing. There's just so many things that you can offer because so many people right now are willing to pay and invest to have the shortcut to get to their end result. And there's never been a better time with the internet because people are more than ready. It's a normal thing in our society now. This isn't something new to be coached online. And there's so many people just coming online every day wanting that help, and you can be their shortcut to actually getting there. At least that's the mindset that I carry when I go in.
Awesome, man. So yeah, powerful stuff. I mean, he just simply reaches out to people on Instagram, connects and networks, give value, and then he eventually gets them on the phone for where he offers his products and services. Mm-hmm. Awesome process. So my question, because I know a lot of people that are watching this video don't necessarily have their own product, don't have their own service. And they understand, like, yeah, you could network and connect, but like, what do they sell? How do they start a business if they're not started yet?
Sure, it's a very good question, and it's something that I love touching on because there's a lot of misconceptions for the right ways to get started. A lot of times we want to have our course done or our product done or our thing ready, and the fact of the matter is that there's just so many stumbling blocks when you go down that road of let me create a product first and then sell it to the world. There's so many stumbling blocks, or let me create a physical product, or there's just so many things that come along with that where things could go wrong. If people will actually want to buy it, if they're going to buy it at the price you're wanting, will it get them the result they're wanting, and so on. So I'm just more of a fan of really getting present with what results are people wanting and what results can I help them to get. And so in my program, there's a whole exercise that you can easily go through to see, and usually every person we work with has dozens of things that they could offer in the marketplace, whether or not they want to, or if it would generate them money, that's left to be determined. But we help you zone in on exactly what that thing would be. But it's all about just creating an offer that people are wanting. It's thinking about what results are people wanting. So maybe you're watching this right now, and I know a lot of your audience is affiliate marketing. So they're gonna go and find another product. This works as well in this niche, because what this is all about is just generating attention in conversations. Too many times when we're getting started, we wanna hide behind the YouTube video. We want to hide behind the email list. We want to hide behind all of these different things that take a ton of time to set up and that aren't necessarily proof that will convert into money in your bank account. And so if you're watching this video and you're a fan of spending your time wisely and moving towards cash versus kind of guessing and seeing things are going to work, then this is the path for you. And so if you have an affiliate product or someone this works with someone else's product as well, this is about having manual conversations. You can build your email list, you can build your YouTube and do all of that, but it isn't necessary. It's at least not necessary when you're starting. In fact, I tell my clients to get to $10,000 first before they start worrying about the site, before they start worrying about logos and branding and all of the other things that come with entrepreneurship and so on and getting started. But it's all about keeping things simple in the beginning. So you can go get someone else's product. You can go and find other people who you might think would want it, interact with them, add value to their journey. And if you do this in the right way and you come from the right place, which is what we teach, what ends up happening is the other person will say, well, what are the next steps? Well, how can I hear more? Well, can we connect? Can you share more? And now you're having a conversation where you have the potential to convert, where you have the potential for someone to open up their wallet and say, hey, I really like this thing you have or that you're offering. And this isn't about lying. This isn't about making yourself look like some big business or anything like that. This is about being honest, transparent, and vulnerable with potential clients, because when you end up working with them and helping them get towards the results, they're going to find out everything anyway, because people aren't dumb. So this isn't about misleading them. And so if you right now maybe don't have an expertise or an affiliate product or your own thing that you want to be offering or helping people with, there's a way to go about preparing your customer to understand where you're at and how you can help them. And so we walk through a whole process of starting at a lower price point and then moving up. I don't recommend anything lower than $500 to $700 when you're getting started, and really working towards a $2,000 to $3,000 offer with the same product, with usually those same people that you're interacting with. You just now have more results. You have existing clients. You have a better process as time goes on. You have more money coming in. It's a lot easier to raise your prices and to navigate yourself as a business when you have that oxygen coming in. So it's all about just creating a simple offer, helping someone get the results, and just going out and talking with the people.
Yeah, I love that. I love how you share. Hey, you don't have to be this big guru. You don't have to drive tons of traffic. You don't have to have this crazy product service. You can start from the bottom and work your way up, because I think that is something that I hear a lot of people ask me, and that's some objections. Like they say, Nick, yes, you already have a good Instagram, YouTube following, stuff like that. And they say, oh, I can't do that because I don't have that. And my response to that always is, well, yes, you have to start from somewhere. Everyone starts from somewhere. But I like your process, because like I was always about just driving traffic to an offer and just converting, letting everything convert. But what we're talking about today, and that's why we titled this video How to Make Money in 2019, is it's really all about connection and conversations and being authentic, not trying to be this guru that hides behind everything, because that is getting played out. And most people just can't make that work unless you have a huge advertising budget.
For sure.
Here, like you didn't spend any money on advertising, and your product and service is helping people, and you're just being authentic and vulnerable and honest about it. Like, that's super refreshing. And I think anybody listening to this video right now, I think maybe you might just had a switch go on if you're paying attention, because anyone can do this. It's not out of the realm that you could be making $1,500 in the next few days if you had everything set up right. Okay, but obviously it comes down to an offer. And I just wanted to throw this out there real quick before we jump into it anymore. What we've decided to do, Jeremy and I have kind of partnered up, and we're offering coaching calls this week for anybody that is watching this video, because you are part of my audience. So there will be a link down in the video description. It'll be the first link. You can click on that. It'll take you to a page that kind of explains what Jeremy does a little bit further. And then if you're a right fit, you'll be able to get on a coaching call with him, and he can kind of help you map out what your business is going to be, what you're passionate about. And he just really has systems and processes in place that he was showing me before that I haven't really seen too much before. And it really just simplifies and dumb down everything, so you don't have to have like all this complex things that you're worried about, and all the confusion that goes out there. So if you guys are serious about this stuff and you want to take this up to the next level, have a conversation with Jeremy, see if he can really help you in your endeavors. Again, go ahead and click the link down in the video description. It'll take you over to a page that kind of explains everything, and take it from there. But let's talk a little bit more about this. We talked about how you go out there and you network and you connect. What other kind of tidbits, especially with someone just starting out, what's another, just a basic tip that can really help propel someone into the next level of their business and their online endeavors?
Yeah, so that's a really good question, because that's where a question can help you cut down on the time. And so one of the biggest stumbling blocks that I constantly hear, and this is the light bulbs start to go off in my head when I'm engaging with someone on Instagram or in person, based upon what they're working on and where they're at cash-wise in their business. So there's 3 milestones: $1,000, $5,000, and $10,000. And there's different things you have to do to get to those points. And so what most people do, unfortunately, though, is that they don't follow the path to cash, because that can be scary. Because now you have to deal with people. Now you have to deal with the chance of failure. And so what we often want to do is all of the other things, like our branding, like our logos, or what I'm getting to is building our social media following. So if you go to Nick's right now, we'll maybe pop it up here on the screen. You got like 20-something thousand followers. Mm-hmm. Little old me, I'm under 3,000. And I haven't sold anything to any of my current followers. Now I have content on there that can help. You can do YouTube like Nick does, and that can help, but it shouldn't be your primary focus, because in the beginning of your business, it's not gonna generate enough attention. And then you're gonna wanna put money behind it in ads, and you still don't have the systems. You still don't have the results to help people with. And so it's all about knowing the stage you're at and playing your cards accordingly. And what I have learned, I summarize all that to say this, is I've done this since 2012, whether it was like starting podcasts or content or trying to build my personal brand or trying to help people and get clients and all of those things. And what I have learned is to be a successful entrepreneur is more about what you don't do and avoiding all of those things. It's almost a game of all day long avoiding the distractions and the things that aren't gonna get you closer to your end goal, and just knowing what your end goal is. And if you can do those two things over even a short to mid time frame, you will find success. Because when you cut all of the clutter, when you cut all of the distraction, you're left with very few things left to do in your business, or you're just gonna be sitting there in the chair or in the coffee shop on the Starbucks Wi-Fi or whatever, which this sort of business can be run from a phone and a Starbucks connection. Literally, it's that simple. You don't need, like we're using a really good camera right now. You don't need that. You don't need tons of followers. You don't need any of that. All you really need is a very, very clear process and knowing how to interact with people to pull out of them what their needs, wants, goals, and desires are. And I can tell you that there's nothing more rewarding than knowing that from someone else, whether it's a friend or from someone that you're DMing and trying to add value to. And even if you don't know how you're gonna add value, when you understand what people's needs, wants, goals, and desires are, everything becomes more clear. It becomes clear how you can work together, how you can look out for them, how you can partner with them, and how you can add value to their lives. But it's really, really about knowing what to avoid. And so if you right now, and this works too, if you either are new to business or if you have an existing product or service and it just isn't converting how you're wanting, it's all about what you don't do. Too many times we want to be building the email list and letting them, like you said, letting the marketing funnel do everything and like us being hands off. Because that's what it looks like on YouTube. That's what it looks like when we hear these big marketers. But what most people don't understand below the line is it's a grind. It's manually reaching out to people when you have the email list that are clicking your links. It's finding the people in the comments and interacting with them and saying, thanks, what are you up to? Let's hop on a call. I want to hear more about your situation. And not trying to pull the old switcheroo, turning it into a sales call, is that by the end of that quick connection, if you think you can help them, you invite them to a different sort of call where we can talk about the unique thing because maybe based on what you've heard, you feel like you can help them. But it's just all about what you don't do. And one of the biggest pieces of evidence I have from this is one of my previous students, maybe we'll link up her Instagram down here. She has like 200 or 300 followers on her Instagram, a list of under 1,000 people, and she just closed an $18,000 launch. Absolutely insane. But when you, above the line, she looks like a duck, just floating on water, nice and even keel. Below the line, she's paddling like hell. She's reaching out to everyone who opens. She's reaching out to people manually on her list. She's finding people on Instagram who are interacting, and she's reaching out, reminding them about the launch, seeing where they're at as far as the decision goes, and generating that revenue. And too many people are too proud to do that in the beginning of their journeys, but that's what it takes to get started. You don't get stuck there. If you know what you do and you have a proven path to get you to where you need to be, then you move on beyond that point. but it's just proof to show you don't need to be with a big audience, which is awesome. That can amplify what you have. That can get more people, more results faster. But when you're just getting started, you really just need your phone and a Wi-Fi connection and the ability to know what are people wanting and how to have that conversation. And if you can do that, all of this is possible. The content, all of the branding, the logos, all of the stuff that keeps you from getting to the cash in the beginning, all that stuff is fine and dandy. And it's just a lot more fun when you have that oxygen and that cash flow coming in, when you have a clear path for how you help people, and especially when you start getting those testimonials back, when people are getting results. Like, there's nothing more rewarding than that. It's Saturday yesterday, I'm on my way to a wedding, but I'm interacting with my coaching clients because they're getting results. They're in the midst of it. They're out there in the field, and it's fun for me to be hearing about what they're doing, about their wins, about their successes, just helping them. There's no better feeling. So it's all about what you don't do.
I like that, cut out those distractions. I heard recently they did some studies on this, and it takes like an average of like 25 minutes to get back on track after you get distracted.
If you do get back on track. Because in all honesty, like Nick and I can work from anywhere, right? So like you see my computer right here is because I'm usually filming from this direction, and so it's easier with my computer for where it's at. And my bed is like right next to, like I can turn my head to the left and there's nap time. I can look over here in front and my dog's here, and I can be like, let's go take a walk, and there's another distraction. There's like all of these, there are people coming in and out and like noises, and like there's an infinite amount of distractions, and oftentimes we are the biggest culprit of all of that. And there is a lot of autonomy that comes with running a successful business, and a business that generates you 5 to 10K. I'm sure that'd be life-changing for many people watching this right now. I know how that can be. But when you're able to do that from anywhere, there are some pros and cons that come with it that you have to navigate. But again, it's about what you don't do, and about every day waking up and having that clear, that one thing I have to do today. That if I do this one thing will drive everything else in business. And when you have that sort of clarity, it just becomes easier to operate and a lot more fun too.
Yeah. One other thing I want to highlight again, I think we kind of glossed over it a little bit too much, but you have a coaching client that did 18,000 with a follower list of 300 people. Mm-hmm. This stuff works, guys. Like, again, I know, like, because we kind of come from a little bit different perspective, because I do have more of an audience, and that's, again, I talked about before, so that's sometimes an objection, but Jeremy's client just, like, that's incredible. And it's not anything that you can't do. You can't go out there and do. And the other thing that I want to get into a little bit more, because I know you said it earlier, but I know a big portion of my audience is they're very interested in affiliate marketing. Mm-hmm. How can you talk a little bit about how this would apply to an affiliate marketer as well?
Yeah, definitely. So in affiliate marketing, you're going out and you're finding someone else's product that typically already has proof. There's already a system for how it delivers. Be looking at those things. It's very good at knowing to break those things apart for your own business. There's a lot of learning that you can do from this whole model. But when you get really present with the product, you start to think about who would this be a fit for? And so when I am wanting to get really grounded and present with a new audience, or with a product or a result that I'm not familiar with, it all comes down to who is this for, where are they, and what are their behaviors. And so, there's an endless amount of research that you can always do. This is one of those things where you got to do it to a certain degree and not get stuck in it. But it all comes down to this product that you might be finding. Before you choose it and hone in on it, you have the freedom to go and think, who would use this, and who would use this and get results and pay for it, and where are those people right now? And you could take your best guess at maybe 3 or 4 corporate or personal brands that they follow on Instagram. You could literally go into those audiences and start interacting, start having conversations, and you could do some trials before you ever do anything with this product to see if people are wanting it, what demand would look like, and what sort of questions you need to be asking and conversations you need to be having in order to actually sell it. Now, if you have a marketing system and you do the whole thing and people can go and easily check out and do that, that's awesome. If you have people that come to your site and you're driving traffic somehow, whether it's like a YouTube video like this or something else, then awesome, you have people to go through, but not everyone's gonna buy. And so the skill of interacting with an individual, maybe they opted in for the email list, but they didn't buy your product. So many people wanted to let the follow-up system do it, and that's fine once you get to a certain point. But it's all about taking that individual person, sending them a personal email and saying, hey, Nick, I saw you made it to the page for X, Y, and Z product, but you didn't buy. I just want to know what's up in your world and want to see how I can add value to you. Maybe this isn't the only thing I do, or would love to, offer you potentially a discount or something like that on this product if you have that inside of that system, inside of that product. And now you're having a real conversation with a real person. And if you can get to the bottom of what their problem is, why it's important to them, what life will be like when they don't have it, they can start to go down a very, very different decision-making process. Now they have a face to the name. Now they know, wow, okay, this guy isn't some random internet marketer. He's a guy who found a really good product that he thinks can help people, and he wants to bring it to the world and show more people. And wow, this person was willing to just even reach out to me via email. I'm gonna go and check this thing out a little further because, you know, I was busy at work when I came across a page, or X, Y, and Z thing happened around me, and you know, people just never make it back. So it's just knowing how to, it's knowing what to do when you have someone in front of you and finding those people. And it's super easy. It all comes down to, in my opinion, knowing 3 people or companies that you think your potential customer would follow. Go there, go see what they're posting about, go see where they're commenting, go see what their captions are in their Instagram posts. This is all public info. This is all on social media. Instagram owns it, not the people who are posting it. And so if you can do that and just understand your market a little bit and what they're wanting, and anyone can do this, it's going to make your system even better. And now you will have the understanding of what products are actually going to convert and which ones you might want to put your name behind. Over a long period of time, in my opinion, it will be more lucrative for you to figure all of that out and then be showing people how to do the same thing, or simultaneously. Now you have 2 cash streams coming in. You're selling your affiliate product. You learn some things that people are dying to learn as far as how to pick the right product, so as far as how to interact. And so you go and find some people who you might show that as well. So there's just so many ways and facets, and it scales just so quickly when you factor in the time part of it. And so it just it's an awesome way to get started if you're picking a new product, or if you're joint venturing and selling someone else's product to your audience. Super easy. You just got to do that research and figure out who it is would get the result from it and who would want it.
Love it. Yeah, I think that is excellent, because that even like starts making me think about, this is really the foundational stuff, and then you're going out there and doing all this stuff manually. What I teach a lot is like, you know, driving traffic, and we talk all about that a lot on this channel, but it's like, it's the same thing. You have to do your research. You have to know your market. Like, yes, you can drive traffic, but if you're not speaking to those individuals the way they want to be spoken to, they're not going to purchase. And I think this is almost a better way to get started, because you're going to learn a lot through the process. You're going to be doing your research. You're going to be having conversations, so you can kind of know what your market is telling you in real time. You're having a back and forth. They say, oh, I don't like this about this. And you're like, okay, I write that down, and you know that's an objection, and then you can put that in your copy later on, or anytime in your messaging, whether you're making a YouTube video, a Facebook post, Instagram post, whatever it is, you can handle that objection now that you know that is an objection. So I would say the other thing that I kind of picked up on what you're talking about too is follow-up. And I'm a big proponent of that as well, and they always say that fortune is in the follow-up. I even remember I saw some infographic that said like 80% of the sales come on the 5th to 12th exposure to something. Mm-hmm. So that's the reality thing, is like most people just don't buy on the first exposure, and that's normal. Yes, there's some hyper buyers out there that will just purchase right away.
And those are awesome people.
Yeah, we love those. But that's not where like the majority of your cash flow is going to come from, the revenue that you're going to create. It's all in the follow-up. And whether you have an email list and you want to do some automated follow-up, yes, that can work, but the conversions will be a little bit lower as if you were going out there and doing it yourself and actually having these conversations and showing people that you truly care about their well-being and solving their problems. Because a lot of time, we talked about earlier in this video, is that if you just keep on sending people to marketing systems, it's kind of getting drowned out a little bit. Yes, it's going to work still for quite some time. I have no doubt about that, because that's, you know, similar things that I do. But again, like we titled this video, how to make money in the year 2019 and beyond. It's about conversations. People want to have conversations. They're kind of tired of that marketing model where guru says go buy this, and you just buy it, and then you're just left to fend off by yourself. So one, you can go out there and have conversations, and people will get a lot more comfortable in purchasing, but then those typically be better customers anyway, and clients, and they long-term clients, as we all know, is that those long-term clients is where all the money comes from. Because yes, you can make some one-off sales, and those can be great, but when you really make a transformation in someone's life and you really help them and they know that you care and they understand that, that's when they continue to stay there and spend money with you. Big time.
And like on that point too, in 2019, 2020, starting a business online is super trendy, right? Like we have tons of friends who are all doing it. I'm sure you have people popping up in your head. Maybe you're even right now thinking like, dang, all my friends are doing it. I was making fun of them. And now here I am, trying to figure out my own passion and my own thing that I can offer. But the fact of the matter is very, very simple, is that there has never been a better time in human history to, one, be a capitalist, and two, to be of service. And there's never been a better time to set up a business ever, unless you're setting up a mediocre one. Unless you don't have the intention of being of service, of really helping people to get their end result, and really coming from that place of getting under people, helping them to level up and showing them to whatever the promised land is that your market is wanting. And this is just so important because you can take a lot of what we're saying and run with it and just saying, I want to go make money now, or I want to sell this product, or I want to go and make my own offer now, or be DMing people so I can generate 1,500 or 3,000 or 10,000 or whatever it is. But the fact of the matter is very simple, is that if you aren't coming from that right place, and if you aren't being of service and really helping people to transform and get to where they want, then this is definitely not for you. But if you are someone who does care about people's results, maybe you have a skill that you learned and you're passionate about how you might be able to help others with it, or maybe you're already doing that. Take heed to this advice, because when you do this, you set up a business that will stand for a long term, where every client that comes in, they're referring without you asking to other people. They're hopping on their own YouTube videos and giving their testimonial without you asking. And this goes just so far when it comes to efficiency. There's a lot of ways to waste time in a business, as you guys have heard throughout this video, and it's the worst thing because time is finite and it's always ticking. And so to the other point of, the hyper buyers, you might even take our giggle and our laugh about that and think that, because it's quick money or those sort of things. And it's not about that. It's that those people who are ready to go will end up getting the best results. The people who find something and can in their own mind process, wow, I don't need to hear anymore. This thing will help me. I'm ready to invest. And you and I talk about this very often, that the universe rewards speed. Mm-hmm. And for those people who are ready to take action and you have them in your market, it's awesome when you find those people, because you know that you're going to hit the ground running. And the people who often are the hardest to work with are the ones who take the longest to decide to buy, and that need every single little bit of info, and that need to really think it all out and crunch the numbers and do all of that. And so I say this for you, for wherever you're at, whatever decisions you're making, and as you're working with your market, be looking for that speed and be looking for that sign, because that's a quick sign that, one, you're probably onto something, and that two, you have some cash headed your way, and three, that you stand to really help some people out. And there's no better feeling than when you're leveling up and prospering and really helping others to do the same. You'll feel like you're walking around with a secret that you can help with the world, and you're just dying for people to give you the indicators that they're open to chatting with you about it. And so when you're doing that, this becomes just a lot more fun and transformational for both you and the people that you're working with.
Yeah, I love that. And the other thing I think about when you talk about the universe loves speed, I think ultimately what that's doing as well, it's helping you build momentum. And I think momentum is probably one of the best assets that you can have. Like one of my mentors talked about how, like, a lot of people, it's usually one or the other, where you're stuck and confused, or you're clear and you're in momentum. Mm-hmm. And the only place that you're truly succeeding and getting fulfilled and helping people and making money and all that kind of stuff is when you are clear and you're taking action and you have momentum. And you only get clear by gaining momentum. And so, like you said, just the people that take action quick, they see an opportunity and they just pounce on it. I mean, I think I can look back on my career and say, like, there was times when I was struggling, and it was because I was just stuck in this thought patterns and I wasn't taking action. I had absolutely no momentum. But then I also think about other times when I'm just like taking action. And it doesn't really matter if it's the right action or not. Like, you start learning through the process. And one of my mentors talks about how you don't, I forget exactly what it is, but you take action and then you make it right. You don't make it right and then take action. So you basically it's just like the whole, like when the rocket ship is taken off towards the moon. At first it's off course, but it just keeps course correcting. And that's the same type of thing that you want to do with your online business, or really anything in life, is that you just take action, you make it right, and you keep on course correcting until you get to that goal. That's why it's important to have that specific goal. So that's one thing I just wanted to touch on. But yeah, guys, we might be closing out this interview here in a little bit. But again, I wanted to touch base and just share with you again, if you guys are wanting to take this up to the next level and you would like to leverage Jeremy's expertise on how he's been able to do this, like I said, again, very small following, but just a very strong process in place that anyone can do, even if you're just starting out, even if you don't have a clue on what you're doing, really. Like, that's what he does. He helps you get clear, he helps you get momentum, he helps you just get going on this process and start taking action and gaining that momentum. So if you are a person that really wants to take this up to the next level and you're serious and you're an action taker, then click the link down in the video description. It'll be the first link in there. And then you can learn more about what Jeremy's process is and all about. And then if you are right fit, he'll jump on a call with you and see if he can really take you up to the next level. All right, so this has been an awesome interview. Really appreciate you being on here. Do you have any last things that you'd like to share? Maybe just some things that you've seen within your clients, helping people, that is a big difference on why some people succeed and some people don't?
Yeah, it's a really good question. And the biggest thing that I notice, especially as people are getting started, especially as I help them whittle away the things they don't need and focus in on the things that will generate them revenue, is there's a couple of limiting beliefs will end up surfacing. Even if the person, really didn't have them at first, maybe during the discovery process or something like that. And the two big ones are, and you may be thinking one of these or both as well, it's completely understandable. These happen at multiple times in entrepreneurship as well, and Nick and I can both attest to that. The first one is that, who am I to teach this thing? And so oftentimes people will think, I follow all of these experts, or I follow all these people that I'm learning from, and they're far better at it than me. So who am I to teach this? And so this is often called the imposter syndrome, and this happens at multiple stages in business because there's always going to be someone who's better than you. And so if you're thinking that, or should this thought surface as you start getting closer to cash with the help of this video and knowing Nick and I, well, the fact of the matter is that there's always going to be someone who knows more than you. And the goal here is not to teach people who are above or at the same level as you, so to say. The goal is to teach people who are more at a beginner stage in their journey. And there are people in every single industry who are willing to pay for the shortcut to get to your level. To get to your level of knowledge. Everything that you've ever learned in your life, you had to learn in a succession. Otherwise, you would learn it out of order and it wouldn't make sense. And for a lot of people, they don't want to spend that time to figure things out, and they will pay for it. And if you're just a level or two ahead, then you will have a huge advantage and people will trust you about that. And so that's the first limiting belief. Do you have any experience like in your own world or from people you've worked with that have that belief of like, who am I to teach this thing? Because I know you work with experts as well. Like, who am I to teach this thing, or that kind of imposter syndrome?
No, definitely. And I even think about this from my own perspective. Sometimes, I'm just not having the greatest days, and maybe some results have been slacking in the last little bit, and I'm like, kind of doubting myself. And then I'm like, who am I to teach this type of stuff? And I think there's a lot of people that experience that same exact thing. Like you said, the imposter syndrome, as they call it. Like, who am I to teach this stuff? But I want to share a story that I always reference. I reference that as much as I can. But Frank Abagnale Jr. from Catch Me If You Can, the movie, they interviewed him, and they talked about this more in the book because that was a little bit closer to the actual story. But he attended Brigham Young University one year. I'm not sure how long he was there, but I think it was his freshman year, and he was in his class, and the professor showed up late, and he took the initiative to go up to the front of the class and actually teach the class. And not only did he teach the class for that day, he taught it for that entire semester, which is just insane to me. But people are always asking, or then they're interviewing him later on, like, okay, how did that happen? How did you teach an entire class for an entire semester? And he said, I stayed one chapter ahead of everyone else. And sometimes that's all you need to do. And that's such a good perspective to come from is, we think about this imposter syndrome, and I think that comes from a very selfish place when you're like, who am I to teach? What have I done? When you're in reality, what you should be doing is something you should always maintain perspective on is, how can I help more people? And the reality is that most of the people that you're helping are just a couple levels below you, or maybe even a few more, but it's mostly teaching the people that really need your help, and you're just a few steps ahead of them. And just always maintain that perspective, because like I said, and I have to remind myself of this as well, is that sometimes, when you're having those type of thoughts of being an imposter, it's more of a selfish thing than going out there and providing value to other people.
Big time. You got to get yourself out of your zone and into the head of your market and into the despair that they're feeling without their results. If you really get present with that, people out there are longing for connection. They're longing for mentorship. They're longing for friendship. They're longing for the right information and to feel clear. You'd be absolutely shocked at how fast people will invest for that clarity, even if you're just one small step ahead perceptively than that person. And so that's such a great example. You're just teaching people who are just a little bit more of a beginner journey than you. And so there's so many people out there who are dying for that. So that's the first limiting belief. And imposter syndrome, as it's more commonly known these days, It happens at every stage to almost every single person that I've known in business, no matter how much they're making, no matter how many successful clients I have or any of that. Things can get tough in business, and it's easy to get into that downward spiral of those thoughts too, and it's hard to get out of it until you get back on the coaching call with another student and they're crushing it. Like literally that turns my day around. To get a text about someone joining the program, like we just got in between the cut right now, and for someone who has a breakthrough while they're in it and who has that clarity. And so there's nothing more rewarding than that. And I always end up feeling afterwards like I should be charging a heck of a lot more, and you'll be feeling that same way too if you come from that place of service. So that's the first big limiting belief. The second one, and this one happens a lot as we get closer to the money, that's the whole thing here, getting you closer to the cash, getting you opportunities, is as you start to brainstorm your offer and your program, you're going to start to realize and have the thought of, well, there's already other people doing it. I want to be a fitness coach. There's already people doing it. I want to write, I want to do social media marketing for other people. There's 100 people doing it. I want to learn and teach for X. There's already tons of people doing it. And so we can start to get down a little bit about the thing that we chose or the vessel that we're going down, the path we're going down, because there's all these other people who are far better than me. And I would just turn that on its head personally. And I love doing this because that's the sort of evidence that you want when you're going into business. The last thing you want to do is to have a brand new idea and to go into a new market that doesn't exist and have to do all of the marketing, all of the figuring out. The smart path is to go and figure out what other people are already doing that's working and generating them the sort of money that you're wanting, and looking for those indicators and just doing what's already been done, not reinventing the wheel, and taking the path that actually leads to cash. Excuse me, there's number one, there's nothing new under the sun. And if you're going into a market that doesn't have those indicators, there's not people in there already, there's not products or services, there's no evidence there, those are big red flags and things that I would stay away from. And so those two limiting beliefs right there will keep a lot of people very stuck in where they're at, and will keep people from pushing forward, when in fact those are just actually pretty good things when you look at them from a different perspective. And they're just they might be indicators for you and your fear levels that you're actually approaching something that's a little scary outside of your comfort zone, but you're about to have that breakthrough. And so those are also really good indicators in a way too.
I love that. That's a great point. I heard a quote a while back that says pioneers get scalped. And it's true, like not I don't say everyone, but there's a lot of people that think they need to start a business like the Uber. What's like the next big thing, and that's not necessarily the case. Like,
tallest poppy gets cut first.
What is it?
Tallest poppy gets cut first. Right? The tallest tree is the one that gets chopped down first. Now that's an interesting analogy, and it's polarizing to a degree, but it's the case. To your point, like the Ubers and Postmates, these companies aren't making money, and they're having to foot the bill to retrain people how to think and behave. I'm really curious to see if they become the Pepsi and Coca-Cola in the long run. And with the new competitors coming in every day, and we all see the news for all these things, it may not look that way. And so they've had to do all that. You don't want to be that person in business at all.
Yeah. So those are great points. So yeah, again, we'll wrap this interview up. Hope you guys enjoyed this type of content. It's a little bit different. I did do a interview a while back, but I like these styles. It's more of like a podcast. I like video a little bit more, but yeah, it's just I like to mix up my content and like help you guys out. And if this helped you guys out, if you have more additional questions, let us know down in the comments. We can obviously bring Jeremy back on. Happy to have him on anytime, share his wisdom and his value. But yeah, guys, if you are interested in learning a little bit more from Jeremy, or you're just curious in general, and if you're just starting out even, make sure and go ahead and check him out. Like we said, the link's down in the video description. Check that out and just see if Jeremy might be able to help you, because he's already been helping tons of people. It's awesome. Like he just mentioned, we had to cut, the battery died, and he looked at his phone and he got another coaching client come through. So his things are really starting to take off for him, and there's a reason for that. And he's showing some pretty cool processes that are really helping a lot of people, especially if you're just getting started out. You have no idea what you're doing. Jeremy's definitely the guy you need to talk to in order to really start taking that action and get that momentum so you can really launch and catapult yourself.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on, man. I really do appreciate it. And if you're watching this, you're 30-something minutes into this video, you're obviously pretty interested, or something deep within you is leading you here. And like we both mentioned earlier, universe rewards speed, but I'm also a firm believer in the adage that everything happens for a reason. And so you're watching this video for a reason. Nick and I have both found you and entered your world for some reason. And so if you resonate with that, or if you believe that everything happens for a reason and that there's no coincidences as well, then don't let this time that you just invested, this precious time, be a waste. take that first step, meet universe halfway, show that you're willing to take action by just clicking the link in the description and hopping on the call, and we can just chat about your situation. And if I can help you, I'll make it abundantly clear to you, trust me. But if I can't, chances are very high you will leave with some clarity and some next steps in your journey that you can actually take, because my goal is to over deliver and deliver you a ton of value, whether or not you're in my program. Just for knowing me is my goal with my content, and everything that I do is try to level up everyone around me. And so if that resonates with you, take that one small step at the beginning of your journey right now, and don't let more time go in between where you're at right now and having that first $1, $5, or $10,000 that's coming into your account every single month, because life is a lot easier when you have those options, and it's an amazing feeling when you're helping people to transform in the process. So if that resonates with you, I'd love a chance to connect and add value to your journey. So hit the link, let's hop on a call, talk about where you're at, talk about where you want to go, and if I can help, we can make something happen.
Cool, man. Yeah, I appreciate you so much. Appreciate you being here, sharing your value, wisdom, all that.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. So thanks, guys, for watching this video. Again, let us know if you have questions, anything wasn't clear down in the comments. And yeah, make sure and share this with some friends. I know this is insanely valuable, so we need to get this message out to more people. So thank you, guys. I appreciate you, and we will see you on the next video.
I just can't let you go. Lord knows that I've tried